Whoa, 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 wait a minute. What's this crap? 2 videos in one day? What? It's business, welcome back. It's time to do some user replays, and unfortunately we have Citizen Soldier here. Now, he was one of the first ones I featured because he got 8 kills in his Benson, you know? And, he thinks he's just super awesome and stuff. And, you know, sometimes he does a pretty good job, especially playing those niche ships like the Atlanta. Definitely not somebody you want to mess with when he's got that thing on the ocean, but honestly, he's not that bad a player. And I'm saying this because I know the guy and I'm just giving him shit, so... But he's in his gearing and just shreds a Benson there. This is one of the better overall replays that was sent in, showing the flexibility of the gearing. And I say that as those torps he launched earlier ended up hitting midships on the New Orleans and taking him out. Now we're skipping ahead here a fair bit, and he's had about 70 additional hits so far on the Amagi and finally gets back into range, and he's just totally harassing this poor stock guy, which, man, save your free XP not for getting to a ship, but getting your new ship researched with the upgraded hulls and stuff, because nothing's worse than the stock battleships at high tier. They blow. But he manages to go ahead and avoid taking a ton of damage there, most likely from that Amagi. Really lucked out with that. So it looks like the Izumo and the Amagi are turning back to the south, but unfortunately now he's got to deal with this Fletcher. Now, one of the reasons why I like playing the US destroyers is that when you get close up against another enemy destroyer, you may miss a salvo or two, but you're able to quickly correct your aim because of, you know, they typically have a pretty fast reload time on the main battery. But it's even more nuts on the gearing. You know, you're under 3 seconds and you are able to pump out a large volume of shells against any given target, regardless of the range. But it's even more so at close range because, you know, you're more likely to have multiple shells hit and do some serious damage against enemy destroyers at that range, which is really what makes the gearing and US destroyers in general so dangerous in close quarters battles. So that's a double strike. So neither of those battleships bothered to maneuver at all. The Amagi took 3 torps, and the Izumo that was further behind him just tunnel visioned right into the next. So, yeah, not bad start here, but now the question is, where the hell is that Fletcher going to show up, and does he already have torps out, that sort of thing? And sure enough, he shows up right there, gets 1 turret and 1 shot off for the Kraken. Now, this Shimikaze shows up because he's shooting at Sir Monkey, who is off to the left here, and he's in his Shimikaze. This guy's not really picking his fight very well. Sir Monkey's full health, and I don't know why this guy decided to not only chase him, but to, you know, go after him with the guns, instead of falling back to, you know, a different position. But regardless, Citizen's got a bead on him and gets kill number 6 against him. And now it's time to find the other Shimikaze, which, sure enough, decides to come within concealment right there. So, and, you know, I really love using the gearing in the best way possible is when you're hunting enemy destroyers and you are playing right at your concealment range there, and you're just able to guarantee that those shells are going to absolutely wreck an enemy destroyer. The Yamato on Citizen's team actually got that kill there. Those AP shells came in and did some serious work against the Shimikaze. Now, I actually at first thought this guy was AFK, and then he fired. So, and again, Citizen got lucky as hell there. I mean, just one of those shells, well, maybe 2 of them could have killed him. I mean, there was really not much he would have been able to do there, but he was able to get some torps off, and because this guy's not really moving much at all, he's got the torp right on the bow there, and he's got the flooding, 56 hits, going on 60, fires everywhere. I mean, this is just ridiculous. So 7 kills, and a lot of damage, and just all sorts of ribbons and stuff, so very nice work there. And actually, I take that back, it wasn't exactly high damage. I'm certainly seen higher damage, of course, but it was the damage that was needed when it was needed. So finishing off enemies before they could take anybody else out, that sort of thing. And that's by far the most important part, especially at high tier, because there's just so much damage capability from any given ship. So let's switch up to Summers 381 in his gearing, and he's already taken out a Fubuki, and basically this is a really good match showing the flexibility of the gearing. This is in a much more defensive mode. He has some other ships around him, but nobody's up front quite like he is to deal with being spotted and have all these other enemy ships that are more than capable of making his life a living hell and ending his match very shortly. So there's a North Carolina over on the 9 line that he's going to launch torps at, and he's fading away from the enemy battleships and the Rune that are down there. And if you guys have never used this with torps above like 10-kilometer range, I certainly suggest it when you're trying to hit a target at long range, and it just gives you a better idea of whether or not it's going to work, because sometimes the perspective doesn't always translate to be like, those torps look like they're going to hit, but when you actually look at it from an overhead perspective, there's obviously no way it's going to happen. So the North Carolina took one torp on the nose there, and well, just off to the side of the B turret, and it's looking like he's flooding. So I initially thought that the fires were repaired and there wasn't any flooding, but nope, the fires just burned themselves out. So he got a kill there on the North Carolina, and now he's got to deal with these guys. There's an Otago to the south, a Rune coming up, and there's still somewhere in there a destroyer. So a pair of the torps he just launched find the Otago, and he's got to dodge the gearing torps, which, look at that, holy shnikes. That was close. And there's the Rune, and unfortunately there's a Des Moines, but luckily it doesn't have too much health, and looks like he's safe from the Otago torps there. So just gonna go ahead and pop his smoke, come to a stop, and start raining hell on the Des Moines, try to get rid of him, because personally, in this situation, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be going after the Des Moines, because that limits the amount of support your carrier can create, and right now his team is down 250 points, so they need all the help they can get. And he got some shells that come in right there and finish off the Des Moines, and now he's going to switch immediately over off to the gearing. And again, this is just one of those things, once you find that range with a ship that has such a rapid reload, and especially at a range where the shell travel time is not an issue, I mean, it's just a cakewalk. You know, the way that this thing just chainsaws through enemy destroyers is awesome. But he ends up pushing south and finds the enemy Lexington, and I don't exactly know why he went with the double widespread there, but only 3 of the torps hit, and I mean, it's almost a kill anyways, but there you go. That ends up being a devastating strike. Yay, and a Kraken. So he pulled that out from pretty much almost a guaranteed defeat there, and did a great job defending against overwhelming odds. So again, the gearing is awesome. I will have that overview sometime soon, but I love the ship. Anyways, now we get on to J-Dog Master, which, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you've probably have heard me mention him from time to time. You actually just recently saw his hilarious Turpitz versus double NC and double Mayhem situation in a Cyclone, and where he sort of managed to come out on top for a moment. It's just a really, really well done match, but this guy's one of the players that I hope I never see on the enemy team. So he has a particular knack for somehow managing to be top of the XP board when all's said and done, because I mean, it doesn't matter if you had a 200,000 damage game and you killed like 5 ships and you got like a cap or 2, he'll have like 100 more XP than you somehow. He's always first. So looks like the enemy team is pretty much turning tail and running, and he gets the first kill of the match with that salvo, and so far so good. He's already inflicted quite a bit of damage, and the ships just want to keep going broadside to him, and that is really something you just don't do in an Iowa. I really think people would actually survive a lot longer if they just stuck with their original plan and committed to their maneuver. And by that I mean, this guy's trying to back up when really all he should have done was just turned and, well, I hate to say this, I can't believe I'm going to say this, he should have just went right to the blue line and used that to kind of bounce off and get him turned back to get him the hell out of the situation, because that's just easy. I mean, I kind of feel like people who play like that are the ones that complain the loudest about repair costs, and they just don't want to make any adjustments. They don't want to change their play. They just think they're doing what they can do, and they don't understand where they can actually improve and, you know, offer more to not just their team, but themselves, of course. But, oh well. So there's a Tashkent with about 2400 HP right there, and he's got his manual secondaries going off against him, and or at least I think they are manual, and gets the close quarters expert there. He's looking to line up a double strike on the Atago. Things look good, and straddles. That's a damn shame. That would have been great. But there's an Admiral Hipper that's trailing away from him. He's got the Lexington in sight. He's also dealing with the Amagi that he destroyed one of the front turrets on as well. Does a healthy little bit of damage there with just a couple shell hits on the Hipper. And also this particular clip, it's old. It's also from April 15th is when I recorded it. Jesus Christ. Some things are inexplicably long in terms of the turnaround, others are pretty much the next day. So fires the front turrets and clears off the enemy Hipper there with a Citadel and another hit. So got it right underneath the conning tower and the B turret. So that was pretty good salvo. And brings his rear turret around, starts to turn the ship off to the right on the Amagi. And look at this. Like, that shell landed at the very tip of the bow, and he was still able to get penetrating damage for 4,800. That's crazy. So the Lexington is paying a little bit more attention to him now. His AA is working hard, but he gets some good damage inflicted upon him there by the dive bombers. So a couple fires as well. And now it looks like an enemy is on his cap, but he's been trying to work on this Lexington for a minute. Hasn't really been able to find the sweet spot on that, but his shells keep landing just a bit behind like that, and as you can tell, I mean, the Lexington isn't dead yet, so that should be pretty obvious that he's been having a bit of a hard time trying to lead in and have the shells land properly. So he fires off a salvo at the North Carolina, but is still pressing in against this Lexington here. And this is the amazing part is, you know, his team is finally catching up to him now, right? And he's dumped out 200,000 points of damage, or damn near close to it. And all these guys are running away from him. Well, now he's over 200,000. And that's a Kraken for you. And now he's just looking around for his next victims. It looks like the Izumo wants to be that guy. And the Amagi's still running, the North Carolina's still running. There's still, let's see, a Shimakaze in New Orleans. I mean, there's still a few targets that remain here that can certainly help build him up. And there's a Confederate. So he's sitting on a lot of damage right now, and, you know, from my own personal experience with the Yamato, my Ishizuchi has a higher max damage on it than the Yamato does. This is the type of match that just never seems to happen for me in the Yami, and I don't know why. I have had some incredible salvos with it, you know, tight dispersion throughout an entire match, but I still just don't get the damage results like some people do. And yeah, I'm okay with that. I just try to be consistent as opposed to having these giant peak damage games and stuff. But come on, man. who turns into shells like that? I mean, this is what absolutely blows me away. Whenever I watch a replay that J-Dog has sent in, this is the type of crap that happens. So the Izumo comes back for some more and takes a bit more of a pounding there. The North Carolina's gonna give him broadside. I mean, dude, I can't make this shit up. This is so nice. And unfortunately, he overled him there, probably because the North Carolina was slowing down in that turn to try to avoid those torpedoes. So he's trying to see if he can finish off this North Carolina. He's got his shells about ready to reload, and even at this angle, that's not much of a problem for the Yamato to hit. But what happens, of course, right when he fires, the guy turns back to the right. Oh my god. I'm just... I'm so envious of people who have matches like this against people that just like to die and give up tons of damage. But he ends up just shy of 300,000 damage overall with this last hit here against the Atago. Just amazing. But, I mean, that's pretty much what happens when I take a look at any of his replays. They're just ridiculous. But the thing is, it's not just about the damage. It's, you know, the damage. I'm so jaded by high damage matches and stuff. I mean, I'm with OP, the Overpowered Gaming, and we, in our Slack channel, we have a particular channel that is dedicated to battle results. Well, the amount of 250, 300,000 damage games I see on a daily basis, it's ridiculous. And so when I see somebody saying, hey, you know, I've got, you know, huge damage game, and I look, it's like, you know, 125,000 damage, I'm like, not really. But that's not to take away from anything. It's big for you. I'm just a bit jaded by it, and also damage doesn't tell a story. So that one I featured from J-Dog because he pushed the entire time, and the enemy team ran away the entire time. They could have done something about him, and they didn't work together to make it happen. And that's pretty telling. So let's take a look at Dr. Professor in his Moskva, which is a ship I've never featured before. So I'm currently at the Chapiev. Well, I'm at the Chapiev. I don't have it. I've researched it, but I haven't purchased it. And I really don't want to play it at all. I think it's free XP bait because it just looks so damn fragile that it's kind of like back in CBT when the destroyers had citadels. That's how I feel about that ship. And basically the Russian cruisers with the Kirov, the Budyonny, and the Shores, they have their strengths, especially the Budyonny and the Shores, but damn, they're just so weak in terms of being able to take a hit. They're just glass jaws with really kick-ass AP. And the Moskva, I don't know much about its glass jaw, but the AP, holy shit. I mean, take a look at this dispersion. That's perfect. But, you know, you can't ask for anything better than that. And there's that North Carolina way over there at A, enemy North Carolina. He's going to throw down some long-range fire on him while he pushes through B and heads north against that Magi that's up ahead. And he's going to do about 14,000 damage to the North Carolina as he approaches this guy. And this is what really got me interested in looking at the Moskva and being like, okay, at some point I'm going to go ahead and really get into this line here and push for it. So we did 9,500 damage on that first salvo, right? Well, cruiser AP should not be underestimated at tier 10. But I think this was the first time I've actually watched a Moskva replay as Dr. Professor gets the kill there. And I gotta say, my curiosity is definitely stirred a bit on that ship. So I'd like to eventually get to that, hopefully sometime in the next month or two, and have my own opinion developed on that. But it seems quite interesting. So now we switch over to the last clip of the day, and this will be Happy Milk in his Yamato. And this is a pretty damn fun match to watch. So his first salvo there against the Izumo didn't yield much, and so far, yeah, he's got 4 hits for 14,800 damage, which actually is pretty damn solid. But my god, those guns sound awesome. And it looks like he's catching the Izumo, and goodbye. Just like that. Oh man. So he walks into the torp field, but manages to swing his ass around to avoid a second torp hit, and actually does a pretty solid job being able to avoid a lot more damage there than what he actually took. So there's a Benson, as well as, well, there's another Izumo, and there's also the Amagi. There's a couple Montanas over here as well, and we'll get to those guys in a moment. But fires the salvo off against the Amagi here, and you can see all these torps coming in, and he's trying to make a turn here so he can get to a bow forward position again, or at least that's what I initially thought. So look at all those shells coming in. There's HE from the Montana that he just targeted there, AP from the Izumo, and the Montana way in the back. So he's going to take some damage here, but again, not a terrible amount. Certainly something the Yamato can deal with, but regardless, he lucked out there and didn't end up taking a hell of a lot more damage. Now, remember what we said with the previous Yamato match where people just make it easy sometimes? Well, this is really no different. You know, this is really why I try to stress that there is seal clubbing at any tier. Now, like Happy Milk, that Montana lucked out, but that's still a shitload of damage to take that you shouldn't have taken in the first place, because the thing is, he acknowledged the fact that he saw Happy Milk's Yamato there because he fired at him already, and he still chose to, you know, go after a different target. And I mean, he's incredibly lucky he didn't just lose all of his health outright on that salvo. But yeah, that's just ridiculous. So the Izumo looks like he's going to be flattening out a bit. He is coming in close. We got the A turret ready to fire, and 4884 got the B turret ready to fire. He pushes it up a little bit further ahead, try to get underneath those turrets to hit the Citadel, but also only manages to get 4884. And looks like he's trying to get his C turret involved here, try to get right through the bow of the ship, and aims for the turrets. No success. So he's got 35 hits and counting with the secondaries, and he just cannot get the sweet spot here against the front end of the Izumo. And this looks like a ram situation, and the guy just did not cut in sharply enough. He did a good job mitigating that damage there, but part of that's luck, and of course part of that is also just good old-fashioned RNG. So looks like there's just a single fire right now on the Izumo, and we've got the guys behind Happy Milk to the south that haven't obviously done much of anything so far. Probably throwing some shells on them too, but the secondaries are still working on the Izumo, and gets the kill right there. So the fires finished him off, and now he's got to deal with the two Montanas. So you're going to see some interesting stuff here. One has got this salvo that just barely clears that island, gets about 20,000 damage there. We're going to skip ahead. The Montana in the back is finally going to be revealed, but the Montana that he just shot at is on his right. And look at this. HE. Do you realize how lucky? The amount of luck everybody else seems to have in this damn ship is astonishing to me. Like, Happy Milk would have been dead if that Montana there chose AP instead. It never ceases to amaze me how bad some of these decisions actually are. And look, it's HE again. He had all the time in the world to switch over twice now, and he gets Citadel through the front. I can't make this shit up. This is absolutely astonishing to watch. And then he gets double sit. I mean, come on. But this guy at least knows that he should be using AP. Actually, if anything, he should be the one using HE. I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words at this juncture. Tier 10 gameplay is just weird as hell to me. But it looks like he can get the kill, but nope. 4884 comes back to haunt, and here we go with the ram. And look at the ships. They're both just like oigy boigy. Oh man, what a hell of a match. But hope you guys enjoyed the user replays today. Certainly got another set coming up, and it will be focused on Tier 10, including some Khabarovsk footage, which, again, I haven't shown on here before. But hope you enjoyed the double header today with some BF1 footage as well. And thank you for watching today, guys. I'll see you back here next time. Take care.